everyone. Thank you for visiting Leezah's Lair. My channel is for the older adults in Second Life, but I've been told by other Second Life residents who are not in the older demographic that my channel is really relevant for any age group in Second Life. So that's great to hear. This is a topical channel. I talk about different aspects of Second Life just so that people who may be new to Second Life, or even people who are not new to Second Life but are primarily just involving themselves in one part of the grid or one group of people, that they will be able to come and discuss the other aspects of Second Life on this channel. The topic today is about Second Life marriage. Comment below if you've been in a Second Life marriage, how long your Second Life marriage has lasted, if it's still ongoing. If you've been married to different people in Second Life, comment below about that. If you've had a polygamous marriage, comment below. An open marriage, comment below. Let's talk about marriage in Second Life and everything that it entails. I've already mentioned that, there are polygamous marriages. There are open marriages, which is different than a polygamous marriage for some people. There are exclusive marriages where people are not seeing other people. They're only involved with each other. They're totally committed to each other. Different ways to do it. I'm also interested in hearing if anybody has been in an arranged marriage in Second Life. Arranged marriages exist away from the virtual world, so I imagine maybe in this virtual space, somebody is in a marriage because other people put them together and decided that they should be married. I'm interested in hearing if that's anyone's experience out there. Even though I have introduced this topic as a discussion, I have not dated anyone in Second Life. I will not be dating in Second Life. That's not something that's interesting to me. So I won't be getting married in Second Life either. I have never dated online. I know there's websites, Tinder, and other sites like that where people are meeting. I've never done that. Just not interested at all in doing that. And some people may wonder, well, why don't you date online and why don't you date in Second Life? Well, I can have fulfilling relationships that don't exist because of a computer. I don't think that that's something that's so hard to believe or so hard to imagine and cultivate. I'm from the generation where we did not grow up with computers anyway. We did not grow up with portable phones, so nobody carried a phone around. So if you were actually talking on the phone, you were in your own house. And so that means that, I grew up in a time when people actually cultivated relationships by being in the same physical space for the most part. I realize there are people who are younger who will probably think it's so hard to get to know people if you're not interacting online. I guess I would have to tell you, talk to your grandparents, because I'm sure they can tell you how relationships are cultivated without being online. That's a whole nother video. But if you want me to get into it, I can create a video on just that point. Because I've been in Second Life for 8 years, I know lots of people who have dated in Second Life casually, some people who are into just hookups in Second Life, some people who have been married and divorced. I use that in quotes, divorce, in Second Life. People who have, been in several different types of marriages in Second Life. Maybe they're into the slave master ownership type marriage, and then some people may be into the type of marriage that may be more common outside of Second Life, the husband-wife, husband-husband, wife-wife. A lot of different ways to be married in Second Life and away from Second Life. Comment below if you have been married, what type of marriage, if it was husband-wife, husband-husband, wife-wife, slave owner, what type of marriage you've been in Second Life, if there's a specific community that is validating that type of marriage in Second Life, you can also include that below, because I think people in general are interested in learning about the different ways of being in Second Life and the different lifestyles and the different ways that avatars are coming together in this space. I think people are interested, so comment below and share a little bit. So maybe the question should be asked, what is the difference between a marriage in Second Life and just dating exclusively in Second Life without saying we're, husband and wife, or husband and husband, or wife. What is the difference? Well, to me, and this is just my opinion, but comment below if you have a different one, of course. To me, the difference would be if you're married in Second Life, you have decided that you're going to build a joint life together in this virtual space. Similarly to being married outside of a virtual space, if you're just dating outside of a virtual space, that's a lot different than a marriage, because people who are married are saying, we have a long-term vision for this relationship. We have a long-term plan of how this relationship will progress. We have a long-term set of goals for our relationship for each other. All of those things happen, I think, when you are married, as opposed to when you're just dating somebody steadily, even if you are exclusive. But, as I said, always comment below. If I say something and you have a different perspective, I'm interested in hearing other people's perspectives. So I do hope that you will comment below. If I say something and you have a different angle to present on that. But to me, if you're going to be married, there is a long-term intention in that relationship. There's a long-term vision that is shared by both persons in the relationship. And there is a plan of how to get there and to how to navigate life together. Um, and so even in this virtual space, if you were to be married, how will we live in this space? What about our friendships? How are we going to have joint friendships, a joint social life, an individual social life? What are our goals for being in Second Life as individuals? What do we hope to develop about ourselves in this space? And how can we help each other develop in this space as partners? How are we going to be partners? To me, all of those conversations have to take place if you're thinking about a Second Life marriage. But comment below if you feel that there's other aspects that you feel are super important to discuss. Also, what about the people who are married outside of Second Life, and then they come into Second Life and they're married in Second Life? But what about the people who are married outside of Second Life and they come into Second Life and they get married to somebody else? How do you feel about that? If you were married outside of Second Life, would you want your spouse in Second Life in a marriage with somebody, living in a house as, two avatars, the emotional investment in each other? How would you feel about that? My opinion is that an emotional connection in this virtual space, from what everyone has been discussing, can be as deep as an emotional connection that is fostered away from a personal space. And I think it's because people are spending a lot of time together. They're talking on voice together, which is very similar to just talking on the phone. So just imagine talking on the phone for somebody every single day for several hours. Of course, an emotional connection can develop. And so I think that in this virtual space of Second Life, that is why some of these emotional connections can end up being very deep. So maybe if you were married to somebody outside of Second Life, maybe you don't want your spouse to be in a virtual space like this, spending several hours a day or a week engaging with another person. But maybe you wouldn't mind that, since it's avatars only and they've never met in person. Comment below about that. I'm interested in hearing everyone's perspectives. Some people have said that Second Life can be lonely if you don't have a social circle in this space. So I guess maybe being in a Second Life marriage for some people is socially beneficial, because they always have somebody to spend time with and to go to different sims with and just to share experiences with in this on the grid. But I'll also say this. I do not think that it is difficult for you to be part of activities in Second Life. There's a lot of groups in Second Life. Many of them are inactive, but it's very easy to join groups and look in the notices to see if they're having regular meetings. And some groups are not having regular meetings because they don't have a meeting location, but they're just uh, talking amongst each other in group chat. And usually that they will indicate that in the background of the group when they're describing the group in that group profile. So to me, it's not very difficult to find people to interact with or to find groups that you can interact with. You can always go to the search engine of Second Life, put in different topics, different things that you're interested in, and then take your time, go through and look for groups and find out who's active and who's not active until you have, joined some groups that really have some activity going on. But aside from the relationship aspect, I think there's a lot of people who jump into relationships very quickly into Second Life. They put themselves out there too quickly before vetting somebody emotionally, before vetting the capacity of other people emotionally in this space. And so that's always something that we should be thinking about as well. But comment below. Let me know how you feel about Second Life marriage. Will it prepare you for a marriage away from this virtual space? Say you haven't been married in at all outside of virtual spaces. Do you feel that getting married in Second Life and having a long-term relationship will prepare you to be a better partner to somebody away from Second Life? So hopefully I've tossed out enough discussion questions for you, and I hope that you like this topic and that you will comment below. And I hope you'll come back and visit this channel, and feel free to suggest other discussion topics that you'd like for me to get into. Thank you for visiting Leezah's Lair. I hope you'll come back.